This Chud the Builder situation is very complicated, and it sounds like what initially could have been a cut and dry case of self-defense might well indeed turn out to be attempted murder, and some of the pieces of the puzzle people are putting together seems to suggest that Chud the Builder might actually be completely cooked. He might actually have basically started this whole thing off himself. He might be the one that was responsible for everything that happened, and no amount of GoFundMe's in the world is going to change the facts. So I'm going to break it all down to you in this video, but by the end of this video, you might be feeling the same as me, that Chud the Builder is completely cooked and it's over with. Okay, so look, this is basically some information that's been coming out from his arrest warrant. Okay, basically it says he turned his body to a bladed stance and reached for his firearm before the fight even started. So they're saying it means that the black man he shot was actually acting in self-defense because he saw Chud draw down on him. They're saying Chudder Bob didn't get jumped. He started it pulling out a gun in public like the coward he is. So I think it's interesting. Let's see a little breakdown of this, exactly what's going on.
I'm on set initial bond at 1.25 million.
So we just got a hold of an arrest warrant for Dalton Etherly that reveals new details, including the name of the man that he got into an altercation with and is alleged to have shot, that he's facing this very serious charge of attempted murder. That other man has been identified by Montgomery County officials as Joshua Fox. We also got a narrative here within the affidavit. They gave a lot more details into what happened outside of that Montgomery County courthouse on Wednesday. Officers noted that they watched surveillance video, and in that video, they saw that this started out as a verbal fight, that Etherly turned toward Fox and then reached for his firearm, and then a physical fight ensued. Etherly, according to this affidavit, then shot Fox multiple times. Fox was then airlifted over to Vanderbilt Hospital, where he underwent emergency surgery. Now, Etherly live streamed himself the interaction, it's caught on audio, the interaction that he had with first responders shortly after he's alleged to have shot Fox.
He said, "You start saying all that to me, I'm gonna hit you." He hit me, started wailing on me, even after I had to defend myself by shooting him. He's still wailing on me.
Now, in that live stream, Etherly says that he didn't start shooting until Fox started to beat up on him. But it's important to note that in the actual narrative of the affidavit, officers note that in the surveillance video that they witnessed, this never turned physical until Etherly pulled out his gun. Of course, we've reached out to his attorney for comment. But again, this is a live streamer who's made a name out of himself out of essentially rage baiting, of saying vile content, of going up to people, especially minorities and black people, calling them the N-word, calling them chimps. So there's been a major backlash from the community about this individual for a long.
So here's something that I want to share with you guys before we go any further, okay? And this isn't real consultation with a lawyer. This is just an AI overview from Google, which does be known to cap. But the thing that I was confused about, I was wondering, I'm pretty sure in Alabama you can have open carry, right? You can carry your firearm publicly. So I was thinking initially, well, you know, is he allowed to have his gun? Is he allowed to hold his gun? Well, I didn't actually know, but this is going to break it down. The pulling out or displaying of the firearm is highly regulated, okay? So it's legal to carry a gun openly or concealed without a permit if you're 19 or older. You're allowed to possess firearms, but brandishing it is what crosses into criminal territory. And it sounds like Chud might have brandished this gun, and he might have opened himself up to justifiably being attacked. So it says, what is allowed versus illegal? Self-defense. You're legally allowed to pull and use a firearm, including deadly force, if you reasonably believe it's necessary to prevent imminent death or serious physical injury or a violent felony like kidnapping or robbery. Okay? Brandishing. This is illegal. Pulling a gun out, waving it, or displaying it in a threatening, wanton, reckless, or alarming manner, even without a verbal threat, is illegal. So he's saying if they're having an argument and it doesn't justifiably make him feel like he is in danger of his life, pulling out the gun to basically brandish the gun to intimidate and threaten without even saying anything, you're losing an argument, someone's saying something to you you don't like. So you brandish your firearm to basically put the fear of God in them. That's illegal, right? Discharging's illegal. Pulling out a gun and firing it into an occupied or unoccupied dwelling or vehicle is a severe felony, all right? You can't legally pull a gun. You can't legally possess or pull a gun in certain restricted zones like police stations, prisons, courthouses. That's where it took place. All right. So it's saying private property, establishments that serve alcohol have the right to ask you to leave. Refusing to do so can result in trespassing. So it sounds like the case will be whether or not he brandished it. And then if we go back, right, just a little bit more audio of what Chud said after this went down, right? It basically says, this is the earliest known audio of Chud the Builder shooting, right? And he basically, he says he didn't do anything, but the arrest warrant shows that he turned into a bladed stance and reached for his firearm before the fight even started. So it sounds like he might have brandished the firearm illegally. He says he didn't get jumped. He started it. He shot the man, then immediately played innocent. The lies are falling apart in real time. So it's all going to be a question of whether it was reasonable for him to fear for his life to pull out the gun. But let's hear what he said again.
Get him off of me. Get him off of me.
Get off the ground.
I didn't do nothing to him.
Get off the ground.
Get him off of me. Get him off of me.
Get off the ground.
I didn't do nothing to him.
He's saying he didn't do nothing to him, all right? But he might have brandished the firearm before he was supposed to. So if that's the case, he's going to be super cooked. And look, so here's just a little bit more information. Again, this is just an AI overview, all right? So just bear with me, all right? This isn't necessarily 100% correct, but they do quote their citations here. And basically this says here, in Alabama, unlawfully brandishing a firearm voids your right to claim self-defense. This means a resulting shooting could be prosecuted as attempted murder or manslaughter depending on the severity of the injuries and the prosecutor's assessment. So apparently, under Alabama Code 13A323, the legal right to claim self-defense requires you were not the initial aggressor or engaging in an illegal act. By illegally brandishing the weapon, you legally escalate the situation and become the instigator. If you are attacked after brandishing, the attacker may have the legal right to defend themselves against you. If you respond with deadly force and shoot them, the court may determine you are guilty of attempted murder or another violent felony because you provoked the escalation. To successfully claim self-defense, you would have to prove that you completely withdrew from the encounter and clearly communicated your retreat, and the attacker continued to escalate the violence. Because self-defense laws in Alabama are highly context-dependent. Oh, we ain't contacting the state bar, but this will do for now. Okay? So here's what's really interesting. There's apparently an ongoing campaign to try and paint the victim in a negative light. Shout out to my guy 1090 Jake has actually debunked this in a video. But a lot of people are trying to smear Josh Fox's name with fake allegations because they want to support Chud. Look at this.
The build is still locked up and people are saying Chud the build is still locked up and people are saying he did everyone a favor because apparently the guy that he shot was convicted of solicitation of a minor. And a Wi-Fi warlord by the name of Tribal Elitism would leave a comment saying the black you are defending and saying is a hero is convicted of aggravated domestic violence and grape. Jake is cool with grapists. Fuck no. So I decided to do my homework as usual. And this is Joshua Fox, the white version, who is convicted of solicitation of a minor. Now, this Joshua Fox is a disabled Army veteran who suffers from a list of mental health conditions, and he was arrested for domestic violence after threatening his wife with a screwdriver. So did he deserve to get shot? Fuck no. I did a list of shit to people, got 5 felonies to prove it, and now I'm trying to give a message on the internet to tell kids to stay out the motherfucking streets. Stop giving excuses for Chud. What he did wasn't right. Chud the bill.
So Jake says he stamped it, man. What Chud did wasn't right. He said what Chud did wasn't right. He played with the wrong one. Okay. So now we're seeing various defense attorneys coming out to kind of speak on the case. And essentially a lot of people have been determining that this isn't an amendment. This isn't a case about the First Amendment. Okay. It's a self-defense case. It's saying about no free speech, saying about your right to bear arms. This is a self-defense case, and was he defending himself? But it might be the case that he wasn't. Other people are saying he was. Everyone's pushing a narrative. But let's hear what was being said by and this defense attorney who popped up with Myron Gaines. Now, if you don't know Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit, very controversial. He was a former federal agent, which is why he does have separate, you know what I'm saying, yelling in bitches' faces and all that kind of crazy stuff that this guy be doing. He'd be going wild over there. But like, he got a federal agent background, so he is actually quite switched on when it comes to like the law and self-defense. And I'm not going to lie, I feel like Myron's probably popped somebody a couple times in his life. I don't know that for sure. I'm just guessing with the way he moves. He moves like he know how to shoot somebody and get off. But anyway, let's hear what he had to say with this defense attorney on his show.
And one last thing I want to mention before we go: a lot of people are treating this like a First Amendment case. Like, well, you're allowed. It's not a crime to say the, and it's not a crime to say the. But this is not a First Amendment case. That's not what this is about. Yeah. It's not charged with saying bad words. He's charged with shooting somebody in the belly. And in the context of shooting someone in the belly, if you say words that provoke a confrontation, you can lose self-defense. It's like if you walk into a bank and say, I've got a bomb strapped to my body, give me all the money. Well, you're just saying words, right? But that doesn't mean you're not committing a bank robbery. You don't get a free pass because words were involved. It doesn't become a First Amendment case. There's nothing about this that is a First Amendment case.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's, I know that's what he says, like he's trying to bring free speech back. But yeah, this is going to definitely be, based on the factors you had, the innocence, the imminence, the innocence, the avoidance, which would avoidance even play into this? It wouldn't, right? Because it's Tennessee, it's stand your ground?
No, it can, because normally in Tennessee, it's a stand your ground state. So in otherwise lawful self-defense, if everything else is fine, you don't have a legal duty to retreat. But in Tennessee, if you provoked a confrontation, you lose self-defense unless you withdraw from the confrontation and communicate your withdrawal to the other party. You've essentially reacquired a legal duty to retreat that you would not otherwise have had.
Yeah, so him disengaging is going to be huge if that actually happened based on what these people are saying. Did he actually walk away and say, I hope your day gets better, God bless, and he was 70 to 100 yards away? If he actually did that, that obviously significantly increases the strength of his self-defense.
If he did that, by the way, when you're doing that, you have to be withdrawing in good faith. If he's walking away and he's still talking the whole time he's walking away, he's still using the and all the other out stuff. If he's saying that while he's walking away, he's not really disengaging from the fight. He's still provoking.
Oh, okay.
So you get rewarded because you're trying to genuinely prevent the fight from happening. You're trying to genuinely de-escalate. If you're walking away and talking, you're not de-escalating anything. You're walking away like the champion.
Gotcha. And that would not be.
So, yeah, he really needed to walk away and disengage if he actually wanted to beat this on self-defense. He didn't really know the self-defense laws before he provoked somebody into attacking him so he could catch his free body, which he tweeted about wanting, right? So another great lawyer who I really admire on YouTube is, of course, Criminal Lawyer Reacts, Mr. Bruce Rivers. He would speak on the case and he would have a very interesting opinion.
The First Amendment is designed to protect us from the government. It doesn't protect you from another citizen. So here are his charges: attempted criminal homicide, employing a firearm during a dangerous felony, aggravated assault, reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon, and he's facing up to 54 years in prison. No, I don't think he's going to get that. But and his only defense is self-defense. And proportion is the key. It has to be reasonable under the circumstances where another person, a reasonable, prudent person would act the same way. And the amount of force used has to be proportional to what the force that was used against him. But he's going to be convicted on one of these. Probably not attempted homicide, because I don't think he was trying to kill the guy. But employing a firearm during the commission of an aggravated felony or dangerous felony, I think that could pose a little bit of an issue for him. So I hope your bologna sandwich is to your liking, because you'll get plenty of those while you're sitting there and eating your veggie loaf.
So that bologna sandwich, man, is going to hit different when you are facing 65 years. But anyway, we also got some analysis from Legal Mindset, who would kind of try and dig in deeper on whether or not this is self-defense. And I think it's still up in the air right now, I would say.
The arrest warrant, where we actually have the facts. And mind you, there were over 100 witnesses there that day. So there were many, many people watching this, observing this, and they were looking at this and saying, okay, what happened here, and getting that into the police report. So looking at what was actually written down, it states that he escalated. The belated stance and reaching for the gun, that's going to be escalation under a stand your ground self-defense analysis. So that's not going to look good. Also, it generally does not look good when you have non-deadly force, a punch, versus deadly force of multiple shots. Now, before anybody gets out there and goes crazy, yes, punches can sometimes be something you respond to deadly force with. For example, if someone's punching you in the head, that can be treated as deadly force, and you can respond accordingly. However, in general, for example, if you're just getting body punched or it's just a regular punch, typically a regular punch is something that you don't respond with a gun, and that's proportionality, right? So if your response is above the level where it should be, that's going to be failing a self-defense analysis. If someone punches you, typically you'd punch them back. That's a fist fight. You get in a fist fight. You're not drawing a knife or a gun or something else in that scenario. Now, the other thing is the bystanders. The bullets were ricocheting and going around, and that goes to the reasonableness of him pulling out his gun and firing multiple shots at Joshua Fox, because they're going to look at that and they're going to say, is that a reasonable use of force? Did he use more force than was necessary in this scenario? The other factor, which I think is massive and I do think plays into the overall analysis, particularly reasonableness, is the fact that he was live streaming and that he had a documented history of confrontation. So he was live streaming to get the rage bait. That's why he exists on the internet. That's what he does. That's how he makes his money, is by getting people to rage. And because of that, you can see that when combined with the history, combined with other things he's done, as showing, hey, this guy was trying to provoke this, and this was the natural, in fact, even reasonable, expected outcome was for this type of thing to happen. Here's my judgment. Based on all of the warrants and all we have for the affidavits and all the evidence we've gotten from the actual government, I think Chud's self-defense argument is likely to lose. I also think that a jury of normal people, even conservative people in conservative Tennessee, most normal people that are not internet brained, are going to look at this and say, yeah, Chud, you went beyond what was reasonable. The force you used here was beyond reason. His other actions while live streaming also deserve jail time. You have to look at the totality of what he is doing, going into private businesses and trying to tell them what to do, to dictate what they do, to be disorderly, be disruptive. All these things deserve punishment because people will come out and copycat these things. People will see these actions, see the virality, see the news, and they will try to be the next Johnny Somali, Chud the Builder, etc. They will do these things absolutely. And if there is not a harsh punishment for nuisance streamers, there's going to be an infinite amount of copycats tomorrow. And part of the law is to disincentivize this behavior, to say, hey, you know what? You shouldn't be doing this. And I think Chud definitely needs some prison time in this case.
So he's saying he thinks and he wants Chud to get prison time. And it's actually pretty damning stuff, really. I mean, it sounds like he is really going to be fighting an uphill battle legally. The self-defense claim is definitely kind of low-key going down the toilet. So Legal Mindset would give kind of a little bit more breakdown as to why Chud's bond was so high. He's got $1.25 million bond. I know he's raised quite a bit of money, but I don't know if he's going to be able to bond out. I think the charges are too serious, and I think the bond is too high.
Bond at 1.25 million. 1.25 million.
You see the big oof there for Chud. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, that's crazy. Oh, this is two-tiered. Oh, this is insane. Well, there's a lot of factors you have to consider here. First of all, he was already out on bond for the Nashville charges. People are forgetting about that factor. The other thing is, and this is a massive factor, is that he's live streaming, profiting on this. So one of the thoughts of the judge is, hey, you're going to go out here and you're going to end up live streaming and getting into this again. You're going to be funded by your community. And seeing the Give, Send, Go pumped up to 200K, that is very good reason to say he might be funded, get out there and be engaging in this and endangering the community once again. So making it a barrier to prevent him from going out there and engaging in further nuisance streaming. So while some people may think this is very high, I actually think this is not out of line.
So yeah, they're not giving him a bond anytime soon by the looks of it, or he's not making that bond anytime soon. Now, interestingly enough, one of the people that Chud previously engaged with has now been spoken to by a reporter, and they're giving their expert analysis. So look at that. This person said, I've gone back and spoken to Chud's previous victims. They say the same thing the police say. Chud went for his weapon back then. So not only is he facing a serious attempted murder charges for potentially brandishing the weapon, removing his own right to defend himself, but he's done this before.
Of Chud the Builder's original victims that you see in this video. This happened back in November, and they say what happened in this video is exactly what police say they saw in their surveillance video at the shooting at the courthouse. Now, the victim in this video says that Chud reached for his weapon, and that's what escalated everything. And if you go back and watch that video, you can actually hear them say he's got fire. And that's when things really got intense. They thought that Chud was going to pull his weapon and shoot them. And in this video, Chud originally said that he was the victim, that he was minding his business and that these men were harassing him. And that's the only reason why he started filming, and that's why he said the word that everyone is arguing about. Of course, we have seen since that Chud's style doesn't match his version of events for this story. But the man in this video and his friend, their version of events match the police report, according to the shooting at the courthouse. Now, many people are upset about freedom of speech. This isn't about freedom of speech. Nobody cares that you use that word. Go ahead and use that word. I don't care. I think it doesn't get you anywhere in life. I don't think it progresses you in life in any way, shape, or form. But whatever, that's your business. Use it how you like. But people tend to forget that people who are out minding their business, who want to live life peacefully, they have rights too, and they have freedoms also, and they have the freedom to live in peace.
We get the gist, all right? So look, let's catch up with what's happening next on the case, all right? So this is clearly a pattern of behavior, and now we are awaiting the next court date, okay? It says, here are the raw facts. You can sort out the BS and clickbait. Dalton Etherly, a.k.a. Chud the Builder, went before a General Sessions judge named Reed Poland III. His bond is set at $1.25 million. If Etherly got a bail bondsman at this amount, the premium is set by state law at 10%, completely non-refundable. Usually 50% of the premium is due up front. That would mean he would need to pony up $62,500 before getting out. Etherly has a bail reduction hearing on Wednesday, May the 21st at Montgomery County Circuit Court. He will go before a circuit court judge on the 19th Judicial District of Tennessee. One of the judges below should be handling his bail reduction hearing, not Poland. So they're saying that these are the judges that will be hearing his bail reduction. What do you think? You think he's getting his bail reduced? I think he might get his bail reduced now I've seen the judge. I'm not going to lie. I think he might be getting that bail reduced. I don't know. Could be getting a bail reduced, right? It might be getting that bail reduced, gang. So look, all right. So both the victim and Chud are now going head to head. They're going band for band on who can raise the most money, okay? So the victim, Josh Fox, right? He has raised $254,000, all right? And he's put the ceiling up to $300,000, right? He's getting big donations. I believe Gideon donated a big amount. Gideon was number one last time I was here. It's gone up. Natalie Kirkland got 2 racks, right? AB sent $1,000, right? Everybody's sending in their money, okay? So they support him. He got $250,000 on his way to 300K, all right? And, you know, I did read this to you guys in another video, but essentially the family are looking for support. But over on Give, Send, Go, Chud has got his racks running up. He going band for band. He's raised even more. He's got $255,000, just like $1,000 more, right? So this, look, how ridiculous is it? This racist crash out has generated $500,000 in like 3 days. I think it might be for the best if they do come down hard on Chud, because if they don't, this is a whole new industry, right? Don't even want to say the word, but the stuff that Chud be doing to people, the reaction that he be looking for from people, it's messed up. But clearly it makes a lot of money. $500,000 from both this shooting is a $510,000 at the box office so far. And I'm not condoning it. I'm not glorifying it, glamorizing it, but I'm just saying that this issue is such a hot button issue. You've got $500,000 of just random people giving their money over to show support on each side. And arguably, Chud's getting more support financially by just like $1,000. Does that mean more people? Does that mean 52% of people are on Chud's side in this situation? I don't know. All right. But I do feel like if the GoFundMes are anything to go by, that really just says a lot about where the discourse is and where people's feelings are. And a lot of people might not express their feelings publicly, but low-key behind the scenes, silently, they might donate some money or show some support to a cause that they believe in. So I think this is very, very interesting. But based on what I've read about this self-defense and the law in Alabama, I think Chud could be cooked. I think he could be facing serious charges. I wonder if maybe they'll drop the attempted murder, but the aggravated assault, you know, commission of a felony and possession of a firearm, all of that, I think he could end up doing serious time. All right. I think he could end up doing serious time. 10, 20 years. All right. Even on the lesser charges. I think they are going to try and nail him for this. And maybe that would be for the best for society. Because when this type of thing's popping off, people are getting shot and $500,000 getting thrown into it. Nah. Okay. Chud he kind of does need to be stopped. All right, so I'll keep you guys posted if I hear anything else. Been meaning to do a little analysis and update on this one. Thank you guys for supporting and watching the last couple of videos I did. But for now, I'm out. I'll let you know if I hear any new Chud drama. Peace.